Hello everyone, my name is Kiray Vacuo and I'm your host and your voice for the voice here is to entertain you and tell you, sit down and let me tell you a great story. And yes, this is going to be a newer type of content. I'm going to do more like video type content where I'll start talking about lots of like storytelling, this and that, yeah, that stuff. Because drawing manga and writing novel is not really something that I'm really excel at, but I do want to like share our story and stuff. So I'll be going in the format like a storytelling stuff. And if you guys didn't know about it, my model, Kiray himself, is actually a character that I create around when I was like 16, 15? Yeah, 15. Actually earlier than 15. It's like the time that I kind of like become like a fanatic on Kingdom Hearts stuff. This is why you can see I have like spiky hair and stuff, and I watch a lot of anime around those times too. So like Law of Wakey and Kingdom Hearts Sora is like the design is the amalgamation of all of them together into one thing. So I kind of like have a little bit like spiky hair resemblance to look, this and that, yeah, that stuff. But again, like more focusing back like on the manga. The manga itself, I kind of like rewrote it or reframed like the entire storyline about 6-7 times. Of course, like the first is basically I'm just very bad at writing. First is very different. First is the most like highly contrast different one, is because like the first is basically I have like this dream about this 7 like color samurai. They are climbing up a snowy mountain and then starting to have a snow fight war with another group. And an avalanche came down, buried everyone, and then they woke up. They climb out from it and then start like do sword fight, and that inspired me to create like a group of Power Rangers, like 7 colors different, like not Power Rangers, more like Mega Man, or if I usually call it Rockman, of course, but still Mega Man, like armored, highly advanced, like a group of 7 people protecting a bunker that is the last refuge of human. I think around that time I was like 8 or something. Yeah, 8, like around I'm just 8 or something. And those like 7 people is like you know, like people just like build a lot of like action figures and just fight to it, this and that, yeah, that stuff. It's technically like that. So they kind of like each time like there's like a lot of like wave come in, and then they just fall off the wave, and then until they fight the last boss, those kind of thing, like hard mode stuff, you know. So it's basically they just keep fighting non-stop, and then drama stuff, this and that, yeah, that stuff, and then betrayal, like all those kind of things. Like, you know, like when you play action figures, you always like have like that thing that always there is always that one trusted ally that just backstab the shit out of everyone. And then like the last boss actually is the protagonist like brothers. Holy shit, Oni-chan! So yeah. Yeah, generally it's like those days. Oh man, I loved it. Just trying to remember like back how I actually wrote those kind of things. Like it's a blast of the past, and I wrote a lot of Stickman comic back in the days, like me being a king, like the era of me being a king and stuff. But yeah, just focus back like the manga version of Kiray. But around the time like Kiray don't really have a face. Like everyone, like I say, they just wear like Mega Man. They kind of have a face, but mostly it's obscured by like a very like Power Ranger like set of armored. So yeah, it's like everyone have like a particular like they have a very like colorful set of like let's say like rainbow colors, so like 7 different set of colors. Each depends on what color you are. You have like the elements or like specific power that like mix into it. Back in the days, like in the later manga series, of course, like Kiray using the power of the darkness, and of course another thing is like he also have the power of the wind. So he have wind, he can break wind. Nah, not that. If you guys didn't like understand like what I just said, I mean like farting. But nah, it's he got the power of controlling the wind and the power of darkness. But back in the days, like he actually using the power of plant, and using the power of insect. Yes, he have like ability is like mimic of like the insect, like the green armored one have the power, the ability like mimic the insect, and also like using like plant power, this and that, other stuff. The red one, of course, fire and magna, and like it's basically you kind of like guess most of the things. The yellow one is like the lightning power, and then like the blue one is water. You know, the purple one is funny. The purple one is actually I forgot, like back in the days it's like yes, the purple one is acid. Yes, the purple one, I just choose them to be acid because I can't figure out anything. And then I remember like the Wicked Witch for some reason, and then I was like, I'm melting, and then I was like, all right, acid. I don't know. It's not actually called acid. I just say like melting power. It's not because I don't actually know like what acid is like around the time. I'm still young, of course. So it's like like the power to melt stuff. Just that. Of course, like I think like the rest is like kind of like self-explanatory on the rainbow color and stuff. The orange is the power of the sun. You know, like they can like shine, like it's like, you know, Goku have that solar flare thing, like technically something like that. So that guy have the power of laser beam. Why isn't like similar to fire? Like I was a kid, okay. So yeah, it's the power of the sun. So he can like shoot lasers, sunlight at people. Doesn't sound that powerful, but heck, sunlight, you can blind people with it. But yeah, and then like the antagonist is actually Kiray brother. He's the only guy who have a face. So Kiray is actually my first ever drawn characters. If you guys didn't know who Kiray is currently canonically like on the it's basically like the face that Kiray is actually based off. Why the name so similar is because it's already set them. I already set them to be brothers in some sense. So like around that time, like I'm very bad naming around that time. Of course, like even now I'm still very bad naming. So he is called Kiray, and then Kiray back then doesn't really have a name. He just called the Green Ranger. Not Rangers, like something else. Like I have like a name for them, but I kind of like Green Guardian. Yes, so they kind of like they call Green Guardian, and then like we have like they basically are the one that have like the most flash out stories. You know, like you have like that one favorite characters, even though there's 7 different characters like protecting the place, and then like that one favorite character, like sadly it's just I choose the green one. And then like it's basically they are brothers, and then he have like this like very kick-ass like ability. I think I remember, is it I think it's Naruto. I don't know how I get the idea from, but I got an inkling feeling it's like Naruto. It's basically he have this code Like you can see this ring I have, or like the older model I have that big ass ring. That one is actually Kiray stuffed. In that particular story, he have this coat, and then like something looked like a feathers like covering like entire big ass coat, like floating around with a ring. That thing can like the coat can detach into many multiple different like tiny sword, and then just fly around and stab the shit out of people, and of course like have like the best defense. He can like protect himself and also like go on full offense because it's just a bunch of like, flying sword. So he is like very like powerful, like corrupted guardian, like black one too. So yeah, like the corrupted guardian, and yeah, like that, and like it was like around the story, like how I built it around that time. But again, like this is like more or less like some skimping surface that I'm going to tell you guys about this thing, because in the futures I'm going to like add more and more layers of story into it. How I managed to build these characters, how I wrote stories back in the days. But I'm going to rephrase like most of the things I'm going to say it. Again, like those many iterations. Why I have so many change is because back in the days I'm not that great at writing. I keep watching lots of anime, and I decided to like add more story, add like that element of the anime into it, like this and that, yeah, that stuff. So it changed a lot of things. And I slowly decided also start to write novel too. Like at first I wrote sci-fi novel, and then I wrote like a fantasy novel, like dark fantasy novel. It's like I want to be edgy and stuff, you know. So like, I wrote lots of like dark fantasy novel, like framed around like Arthurian era, like somewhat like reference at like Arthurian era. So like King Arthur is kind of there. There's something similar like Excalibur, but this like story is not generally framed around that place. It's called Lost Legend of Arodia. So it's basically, it's like fairy tale, but it's already like been lost or like retold so many times. It's not actually that accurate anymore, like, or like just flat out lost the context or like the true story behind it. So Lost Legend is basically like the actual story that happened in there, but with not like actual story, more like finally people like there's like this one person's that pieced together all those fairy tales together, and like those loose informations or like family traditions and this and that. Basically he's just like an archaeologist or like a storyteller, and then piece everything together and create this book called the Book of Lost Legend. So the Book of Lost Legend is like the novel I wrote that about like loose piece about like different hero and different characters, what the stories that happen to this every individual people around the time. Is like there's one is called the hilt. Is basically that guy is like the descendant of like King Arthur, so like he can use this hilt that is actually the hilt of Excalibur, and then he need to reunite the entire empire, the Camelot Empire. Yes, it's called Empire now. To fight off like the darkness. Technically it's not darkness, it's called Darkling. So it's basically like this fiend like spawn out, and then they want to like conquer the entire place, and then like they fought back. Now this is like the second invasion from them. So he had to use this, get up the MacGuffin, trying to like get up everyone and then start fight back again, like those kind of things. Aside from that, there's so many like Leon Caster, also Alvin the Ice Witch, not Alvin, Lowenhard, yes, Lowenhard the Ice Witch. Lots of characters that I wrote. It's been a very long time, but all those characters like framed around like one like quite like specific timeline. I'm using the hilt as the like the framing timeline around that time. So like everything happens almost like around that timeline. Sometimes like different hero, like despite they are completely separate stories, sometimes they kind of like overlap with each other's. Like they can sometimes like cameo appearance, this and that, yeah, that stuff. So I can do a lots of talking about all those story itself. And of course, because I flash out wrote them so much, and sometimes it kind of like have some idea borrowed from the manga I created from Kiray, and I decided to move all the thing I wrote for in the Lost Legend to Kiray Mangaverse, to basically just link the world of like Lost Legend Arodia to the manga like universe together into one thing. They actually like happen in that place. It's like the far-flung futures of Lost Legends, the manga, I mean. So the Lost Legends stuff become actual lore and story, you know, lore and fairy tale, and also like background, like flavored text for lots of things that happens in the manga story. So in order to do that, I have to rewrote like a lot of story stuff on Kiray manga, and it's still kind of like built up in my brain, but now they have like much more stuff that kind of like related to this like Lost Legend world. And funny thing is like the main MacGuffin I'm going to trigger for like the manga stories is basically the heroine, Lilith. The heroine Lilith is actually like the one that pieced the Lost Legend story together. So like they will go on adventures and travel around the entire Arodia area to kind of like do some detective work, and also like this and that, yeah, that stuff. Lots of like shonen stuff happening there. Yeah, I can try to talk about the story a little bit more, and also like, but main point I'm doing this is me talking way more stuff about the story I made. So I will be very loose, without format, talk about lots of different story. Maybe like you guys will maybe like in the future they see, oh, I'm talking about Lost Legend like the Hilt story. Oh, this time I'm talking about Lost Legend the Northland Ice Witch. Or like, oh, I'm talking about the Useless Caster. Or like I'm talking about the different universe. Actually, the entire planet of Arodia revolves about like 3 different universes. One is the actual Earth, and then the second is the alternate Earth. It's like a very futuristic. They use a lot of AI to kind of like control, like help them out, and then the AI revolt and those kind of things, like that particular Earth. And then there's another Earth that is, instead of like technological advance, they are biological advance. So they kind of accidentally create a zombie apocalypse. But yeah, so I have so many stories I can talk about it. So if anyone are still here listening to me yapping, you guys can like comment in the comment below like which world you guys want to start with. You guys want me to start with the manga? You guys want me to start with Lost Legends? You guys want me to start with the AI war universe, or the kind of like the biological like advanced like world? The biological advanced world, like I only have 4 story because I didn't actually wrote that much on that particular world universe. The AI war have spanned quite a lot of series. Even my first ever written story actually is in the AI war world. It's a little bit like JoJo-fi. Like, to be honest, back in the days, I don't know what stan is, but like essentially everything happening there kind of like a stan. Not everything, I mean like that particular story, that like the first story I wrote, is like, you know, like those kind of like people like add on like a chip to increase like people like brain power. So like they go to Mars, found this technologies, replicate it, and do lots of experiments on humans, and then like this guy stole all the prototype out, ran away, and then give like the chip to like randomly just teleport around and give chip to people. And like the main characters is like got like the Claw Knight. So it's basically like he will manifest like a fan, like not like hologram. It's like a basically like a phantom behind him that is like looks like a freaking like a mecha knight, and then with like claws for hand. Not like claws for hand. It's like the claw itself. It looks like a double shield. You know, like a very like thick gauntlet, but also like have claws popping out. So those kind of things, like there's a lot of things I do like want to like talk about that particular story too, because it's like my first ever like novel story I wrote back then. Like a lot more like on AI war too. Like there's like that particular one is like a future of AI war. Like around that time they have like they stop using AI stuff. Like so like this chip is like they're using brain and stuff. A little bit 40k actually. I know it's a little bit confused. I've been like going around like everywhere. So long story short, I'm going to tell you guys lots of story, lost legends, AI war areas, and then like the biotechnology world, and also like the mangaverse, and Erodia, Lost Legend, like specific character stories that I'm going to talk. I think I'm going to start my newest episode on the Lost Legend that is about the magic system they have. So the world of magic in Lost Legend is actually very fascinated, because I craft them to the point that there's a lot of misconception in there. Basically, the way they understand magic is completely wrong, and I actually on purpose wrote a lot of flaw into it, and like it's not logical at all. It's like, wait a minute, like once you learn more and more about the magic, like when I like continuously talk about how the magic system work in there, later on you will understand like, wait a minute, then isn't this bogus? Like those kind of things. And then but you are right, and actually there's an actual conspiracy behind like why people like made up such like bogus stuff. Like those kind of things. Yeah, I kind of spoil a little bit, but still, just trust me on everything I'm going to deliver. And as I keep on delivering all these stories, I might improve the format, or you guys can tell me what kind of format you guys want, or want like a specific stories I want to talk about, because I yap a lot, so I will mention something that should not like be in that particular story, and then I will like try to like skip it or like move along. But if you guys are interested in it, do like give it like a comment, and then like if someone managed to get enough like on that particular like, hey, I want to hear about that particular type of story, and then like I will like do a specific episode to talk about that. So it's much more fun. We can have much more fun time too, like much more dedicated like episode of, oh, you want to learn more about elemental magic, or oh, you want to learn more about dimension magic, like oh, you want to learn more about like this particular characters, oh, like those kind of things. Like everyone, actually I wrote them in such a deep way that everyone have a story. So if you guys want to learn about some particular characters when I talk about them or mention them, you guys can like ask it in the comment, and then I would do my magic. But yeah, thank you very much for listening to me, and as always, everyone, stay healthy, stay safe. Until next time, stay tuned on the next story. Bye bye.